Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode. Today, we're getting started a little bit late, okay, a little bit later than normal, but today is going to be a good show. We're going to talk about the birth Shem angel. Where does this tradition come from? The birth angel with the Shem angels. So, today, we're going to be talking about birth angels. Where does this come from? What are the sources of the idea of the birth angel? Okay, so a lot of people that work with the 72 Shem angels, they work with their birth angel. The birth angel is like a personal angel. And today I'm also going to talk about how a person can use a stone, a traditional stone, that is associated with the zodiac sign, so that the Shem angel exists within your stone. This is chrysoprase. Okay, chrysoprase, according to Cornelius Agrippa. Okay, according to Agrippa, chrysoprase is associated with Capricorn, and so Mitzrael is my birth angel. Following that, and I'm going to talk about that here in a bit, how you can discover your own birth angel and that type of thing. And this is kind of bringing, at least in the sense of using zodiacal stones, this is something that you see in Agrippa. Okay, you see it in Agrippa, for example. So, Book 2, Chapter 14 of Agrippa talks about the zodiacal stone. And Agrippa, in his chapter on the Shem angels, he shows how the 72 angels of the Shem ha-Mephoresh each govern 5 degrees of the zodiac. Therefore, one can extrapolate that one can use the birthstone, which refers to the stone associated with your zodiac sign, as a way to communicate with the Shem angel that governed the degrees of the sun at your birth. Now, there is also the idea that came later on of there being 3 Shem angels, that each person has 3 of the Shem angels that correspond to their birth. Now, this is something we'll get into here in a bit. I don't want to put any judgment on any one practice, okay, with the Shem angels. My purpose is just to talk about their lore and history, and people can find what works for them, okay? But the 72 Shem angels in Lazare Lenain's The Science of Kabbalah, in his Science of Kabbalah, which is an important text for understanding kind of the modern, more of a modern, which is 19th century. When I say modern, I mean kind of the early 19th century, early 1800s with the Shem angels. He talks about each person having 3 Shem angels that corresponds to their birth. Hi, Sunset. How are you today? Welcome. Today we're talking about the birth angel and the birthstone, and how one can use a stone to communicate with the Shem angel that governs your birth. Where does this really come from? Is it really in Agrippa? Is it really in these ancient sources? Where does this tradition come from? So we're going to break all of this down today. Basically, the idea, Agrippa does not refer to the Shem angels as birth angels explicitly in his text. But Agrippa talks about the natal angel, okay? You see this in the 3 Books of Occult Philosophy, published in the 16th century, okay? If you don't have a copy of the 3 Books of Occult Philosophy, then I highly recommend. It's a very important work. And I'll give links and everything. If you go to, the side of my video, you'll see links, if you want to check out these books. By the way, full disclosure, when I give out links, they're monetized. Okay, so you can just go buy it on your own if you want. That's fine. But if you want to use the links that I use, I do have them so it helps me out with my whatever. Okay. But you can buy it through the links that I provide. I'm just full disclosure that they're monetized when I post the links. And I put hashtag ad So that's just like full disclosure. This link is monetized. But however you get it, I recommend that anybody really have a copy of Cornelius Agrippa's 3 Books of Occult Philosophy. Okay, and many of you are veterans. You've already got your copy, of course. But many people are just discovering this stuff, you know. Every day I talk to people that this is new to them. They're learning about Renaissance magic for the first time. So he wants something where everybody can get something out of this. But anyways, the 3 Books of Occult Philosophy, this is a very important book written in the 16th century. And the interesting thing is that we're still able to get knowledge from Agrippa centuries later, and we're still ruminating on his ideas. But Agrippa does talk about a birth angel. He never refers to the Shem angels as birth angels, but in several places he talks about like ways to put the Hebrew letters on all the degrees of the 360 degrees in a circle. Basically the degrees of the zodiac, putting Hebrew letters and extracting names. He gives various ways. In some of my older videos, I talk about how to get the name of your birth angel. I actually did this. It's actually pretty interesting. The name of your natal angel, So the idea of having a personal angel, okay, you actually see this a lot in grimoire magic. So there are different forms of this. Like, for example, if you get into some of Frederick Hockley's stuff in the 19th century, he was doing grimoire magic. Frederick Hockley, like a lot of his experiments centered around your first contacting your guardian angel, and then you have like your personal spirit. That's like your guide or your protect. You have a guide or whatever, your guardian angel. And of course you see in some of these like Renaissance like grimoires and texts, you have this idea of your birth angel and finding this, you know. So basically, yeah. Now, Agrippa gives a few different ways to find your birth angel, okay? But he does not refer to them as the Shem angels to this. Now, there has developed a very common practice, because since you look at where the stars or everything was aligned, the planets, everything aligned at your birth, you can gain the name of your birth angel. This was common, so you look at your natal chart and analyze your natal chart in various ways to get the name of your natal angel. So this was like just a trapping of like Renaissance or classical magic type of thing you do in a day, back in the day. And then of course you have the Abramelin, which was different. That was like at a divine level. The Abramelin, that's the holy guardian angel. Now Agrippa actually gives 3 guardian angels. Okay, Agrippa actually talks about 3 different guardian angels, that everyone has like a different guardian angel. So Agrippa, and then that, should I go get it? Agrippa talks about that we each have 3 guardian angels. One is divine. Okay, one of these is divine and comes directly from God, okay, the divine realm. And Agrippa says that we each have a different angel that comes through the astrological realm and one that governs the profession, okay? So it's like the 3 worlds of Agrippa, like his 3 Books of Occult Philosophy. So it's interesting that Agrippa does this. Now, Lazare Lenain, in his Science of Kabbalah, by the way, Pierce Vaughn, and I've got a link in my, if you go to the description, right now on Facebook, actually I need to add the description. Later on I'll add the descriptions and the links to my Facebook. I'll do that later, and then so once the video has rendered, then you'll see the links and everything. But this is the book. So the Science of the Kabbalah, Pierce Vaughn actually has an excellent like translation of that into English from the French. Lazare Lenain was a French occultist. Okay. He wrote this book in 1823. 1823. Okay. Early part of the 19th century. 1823. He wrote La Science Cabalistique. La Science Cabalistique in French. Or how to find the names, or how to find your good genies, or geniuses, okay? Alright, and he publicized this book. Now this book is actually pretty interesting. I'm going to give like monetized link, like if someone wants to buy, or they can just look it up, but The Art of Knowing the Good Geniuses. Okay, so this is what the book actually says. The science of the Kabbalah, or the art of knowing the good geniuses. The art of knowing the good geniuses. Some people might recognize this symbol, because, you know, I've been using it a little bit. But Lazare Lenain, the science of the Kabbalah, or the art of knowing the good geniuses. In this text, Lazare Lenain explains a way to find 3 different Shem angels of your birth. Now, here's the thing. Okay, this is for each person to decide in your own practice. This was in 1823. The thing is, Lazare Lenain fabricated, he invented these 3 timings and stuff. Like a lot of the way that he shows you how to find your birth, that there's 3 Shem birth angels. Nowhere in Agrippa does it say that we each have 3 Shem angels. Agrippa does talk about 3 guardian angels. But what Lazare Lenain does is he suggests that you have 3 Shem angels. For example, the one that comes from God, according to Lazare Lenain, is based on this 20-minute cycle. And we know that Lazare Lenain invented this cycle. He invented the 20-minute cycle thing, beginning with Vehuya at midnight, and then every 20 minutes a new angel. It makes sense, but Lazare Lenain, he created this, and that's the name of your, divine genius. So all I'm saying is, each person has to decide for themselves how they want to do their practice, but Lazare Lenain did create a lot of these tables, the 5 revolutions of the geniuses throughout the year, so every 72 days, you come back to that genius. So March 20th would be Vehuya, and then 72 days later, May 11th or whatever, would be Vehuya. And so every 72 days, so he invented these tables. So some people may find this useful, okay, and some people may not use Lazare's method, so it's up to you, okay. I want to cover the Shem angels and how people have worked with them throughout the centuries, and so this is more kind of a modern interpretation that we each have 3 Shem angels, okay? Now the other method, which is the one that I mostly use, I just look at the degree of the sun at my birth, which is one of the angels that Lenain gives, but he assigns that to the elemental or physical world. But that's just what I do. And many people, they just look at the degree of their birth. They don't worry about looking at the 20-minute cycle or any of these things. But I figure try it out. If it's meaningful for you, great. If not, then fine. But I present this that you can find your own practice. Now, me personally, I have a birth angel that I work with. Mine is Mitzrael. And I have Chrysoprase is given by Agrippa. Now again, this is taking Agrippa and bringing his magic to life. Okay, Cornelius Agrippa's 3 Books of Occult Philosophy. This isn't just supposed to collect dust in the library, you know. Agrippa's 3 Books of Occult Philosophy, it's meant to be put into practice. So how do you do that? One way to do that, okay, if you go to Agrippa's 3 Books of Occult Philosophy, Book 2, Chapter 14. Book 2, Chapter 14. Okay, this is where Agrippa breaks down the number 11, but then he breaks down the number 12. Okay, you go to Agrippa's 3 Books of Occult Philosophy. Again, this was an important book published in the 16th century. In Agrippa's 3 Books of Occult Philosophy, Book 2, Chapter 14, you can clearly see the names of the 12 angels of the zodiac. You could see the stones, the permutations of the divine name, the stones, the herbs, all associated with the different... So this is how I would recommend working with it, and I think it's consonant with the tradition, and many people do this, is to work with the things associated with the zodiac sign govern, with that the Shem angel exists within. So for example, this is chrysoprase, okay? Chrysoprase is associated with Capricorn, according to Agrippa. Again, you're going to Agrippa's 3 Books of Occult Philosophy, Book 2, Chapter 14. Here I have chrysoprase. So why not bring Agrippa to life and get some of his correspondences, okay? So chrysoprase helps me to connect with my birth angel, which is Mitzrael. Mitzrael governs 5 of the degrees that happen to be within Capricorn. Okay, so what I have here is a magical link. I have the stone associated with the zodiac sign. Okay, so if you go to Agrippa's 3 Books of Occult Philosophy, chapter 2, Book 2, Chapter 14, you see the names of the different zodiacal angels. Again, I give a link to this if you want to you want to buy the 3 Books of Occult Philosophy. I think it's essential reading if you want to understand really Renaissance magic. But so Agrippa in his Book 2, Chapter 14, he talks about like Aries. The angel is so the angel of Aries is Malchidiel. And you could see that the 12 tribes of Israel has an association here in Agrippa. The tribe of Dan, one of the 12 prophets, Malachi. Matthias is the disciple. Again, this is Agrippa writing in the 16th century. Whatever you want to make of these associations, these are the classical associations given to us by Agrippa. Okay, so this is Aries. The month is March, but of course it goes into April. The herb in the elemental world. So Agrippa breaks this down in the elemental world. He has the intelligible world, the tribe of Dan, the prophet Malachi, the disciple Matthias. We're looking at Aries just as an example in Agrippa. We're in 3 Books of Occult Philosophy, Book 2, Chapter 14. If you have your book, if you have your copy of the 3 Books of Occult Philosophy, I encourage you to take a look at this table. So in the intelligible world, we have Dan, Malachi, and Matthias, according to Agrippa. In the celestial world, we have Aries and March. Again, he puts time along with the celestial world. And then in the elemental world of Aries, Agrippa gives sage. So that's interesting. Sage. Like a lot of people, they burn sage, okay? According to Agrippa, sage is associated with Aries. And the stone is sardonyx, which is, I would say like sardonyx, okay? Sardonyx. So sardonyx is associated with Aries. It rules the head, okay? So then we go on to, so you can look at the stone, you can see plants. For example, in Agrippa, okay, Aries, we were looking at the plants or herbs according to Agrippa. Aries is sage. Okay, Taurus is upright vervain. Gemini, bending vervain. Cancer is comfrey. Leo is lady's seal. Okay. Virgo is calamint. Okay, so you see these herbs. You see different stones. Sardonyx or sardonyx of Aries. Carnelian of Taurus. Topaz. So in Agrippa, the birthstone of Taurus is carnelian. The birthstone, according to Agrippa, the stone that associates with Gemini is topaz. Of Cancer, chalcedony. Leo is jasper. Virgo is emerald. Okay? So we see right here in Agrippa, Book 2, Chapter 14, we see the 12 zodiacal stones. So these can be used to work with your angel, okay? If you go to Agrippa's 3 Books of Occult Philosophy, chapter what do you call it? Book 2, chapter 14. If you I'm just making the geomantic figure because we're gonna do another geomantic figure today, sirs and madams. I hope you've got your pens and papers ready, y'all. Okay. We're gonna have a blast with these episodes. How are y'all doing this evening? Today is actually an evening live, okay? I'm not doing the morning live, it's an evening live. However, I can say at least that I have been holding to this. I have been doing an hour-long, thing every day, at least an hour. Like yesterday's thing was 2 hours. Okay, an hour, 2 hours, daily, Monday through Friday. But things happen, Today I was not able to do the morning show. But you know what? I didn't just stay gone. I got on here, We're doing it. I didn't stay gone. If there's any English teachers out there in the audience, I'm sure you want to smack me with a ruler right about now. I'm just making this geomantic figure. Today we're going to be looking at Conjunctio. Okay? Conjunctio is ruled by Virgo and by Mercury. It is a crossroads, okay? It deals with interaction and coming together. It is the union of opposites. We're going to break this down, y'all. We're going to do some geomancy, okay? So this is Conjunctio. All right. So here we are. So today we talked a little bit about the Shem angels. Lazare Lenain, in his book, okay, The Science of the Kabbalah, or The Art of Knowing the Good Geniuses. This book was published in 1823. Pierce Vaughan has an excellent English translation, and it's like $10. Literally, it's like $10 on Amazon, okay? If you, I will give a link, okay? It is a paid link, but I'll give a link. It's like $10 on Amazon, okay? The Science of Kabbalah. Right now on the live, I don't have the links, but after I've finished the video, I'll add links and all that stuff. But this book, he gives he tells you how to do it too. You can find your 3 Shem angels of your birth. Now, again, Agrippa never talks about Shem angels as birth angels. Nowhere in Agrippa, nowhere in the classical literature. But they do govern 5 degrees of the zodiac, and elsewhere he does talk about the concept of a birth angel. Lazare Lenain gives 3. Me personally, I like to do 1, but a lot of people find it useful in their practice to work with the Shem angel that governed the 5 degrees of the zodiac where the sun was located at their birth. Okay, me personally, I have my chrysoprase, which again, in Cornelius Agrippa's 3 Books of Occult Philosophy, his book 2, chapter 14, he lists chrysoprase as the stone of Capricorn. So this is a way that we can use Agrippa to bring things to life, okay? And have, that we can kind of work with this classical Renaissance magic, that we can come into contact with this magic. We're learning magic from Agrippa. So it's pretty cool. His voice echoes down through the centuries. Cornelius Agrippa. Okay, so we have some people here watching my live. How are y'all doing today? So, today we talked about the concept of the birth angel, the angel of your birth. Now, some people may want to totally disregard this practice. That's fine. Some people may want to incorporate it and do like I do, just look at the degrees of at your birth, okay? And then some people like to follow Lazare Lenain's method and work with the 3 different Shem angels of your birth, okay? I find it very useful, and many people say that with your birth angel, you don't even have to worry about like timing as much. Like you're just connected, You could think of your stone, if you wanted to get like a stone necklace, make sure it's real, not lab grown. You want a natural stone hewn from the earth, make sure it's real. But get a stone of the angel. Like I said, I have chrysoprase, I'll have chrysoprase, my stone around me, which is the stone of Capricorn, and which my sun sign is actually Capricorn, and tropical astrology, which is what I use. And then of course people can use whatever form of astrology they want. If you want to use another form of astrology, you can do that. The reason I use this form is that's what the tradition has always used, and it seems to work well, and so we have different paradigms on that. But you can adapt this however you want to your own practice. But chrysoprase, again, is associated with Capricorn. As an example, have stones of your angel. This is your connection. This is a connection. And you're taking this to like the Hermetic adage, as above, so below. Many people have heard this phrase, as above, all that is above is a reflection of that which is below. All that is below is a reflection of that which is above. In esoteric or occult circles, this is called the Hermetic adage, okay? It comes from the Emerald Tablet. The Emerald Tablet is an old Hermetic text. But anyways, so what that means is, in the Renaissance worldview, again, I'm not saying it's literally true, but this is the Renaissance worldview that Agrippa's 3 books of occult philosophy are based on. Agrippa, in the 16th century, in 1531, he published Book 1, and then in 1533, he published all 3 books. Agrippa's 3 books of occult philosophy, he breaks magic down in the 16th century as elemental world, which is this world here of plants, stones, animals, plant stones, okay, herbs, trees, things here. The second world was the astrological realm, okay, the astrological realm, like out there, and then the divine realm beyond that. And to a Renaissance mage, to look at the position of the planets and things was a way to catch a glimpse into the mind of God. So the astrological realm was seen as a type of intermediary realm, okay, an intermediary realm. Which is interesting because that brings us kind of to our geomantic figure today, which is Conjunctio, because it's a bringing together, to bring in a little bit of modern magic, This is shown in the image in some tarot decks. Okay, again, we're going into modern magic, not classical here. In some tarot decks, the magician holds up the wand up and he points down. Or in the BOTA deck, he holds the wand up and he points down. He's drawing from above and he's directing that energy down. He's connecting. And Mercury connects. If you look at the 2 serpents in the caduceus wand, the 2 serpents that twine about the staff of Hermes, these represent opposites. And you have the reconciliation of opposites. Okay, so this is an ancient symbol that has come down to us through the ages as a staff with 2 serpents twined about it. This is largely interpreted as representing the union of opposites. Mercury was a reconciler. He united opposites. Okay, he had to do with communication, which is the exchange of thoughts and ideas, with commerce, which is the exchange of goods and services and of money, anything that had to do with communication, okay, and a crossroads. Wow, I'm going way off. I'm actually going into Conjunctio. What was I trying to do originally? Oh yeah, Agrippa. So you're bringing together the 3 worlds. The classical magic worldview is that a stone corresponds to a planet. And a planet, as an example, corresponds to an angel. So what you have here is you're combining the 3 worlds, okay? For example, in this case, my birthstone, according to Agrippa, chrysoprase, this is an elemental world in Agrippa. But this connects me to Capricornus, okay? Capricornus, okay? The second world of Agrippa. And through Capricornus, this connects me to my angel, divine realm, top realm of Agrippa, my Shem angel, Mithrael. So in Agrippa's 3 books or 3 world model, you have the divine realm, Mithrael, celestial realm, those 5 degrees of Capricorn, and then in the elemental world, the stone. Okay, so what we're doing is we're uniting the above and below. And it's funny how you see in a lot of modern magic, even the image of Baphomet or Baphomet above, he unites above and below. Of course, that goes back to Eliphas Levi, okay, in the 19th century, his famous painting of Eliphas Levi. But it's about connecting above and below, you know. It's interesting if you look at the Aleph, okay, you have the two Yods with the Vav in between, okay. You could say it anyways, represents the manifest and the unmanifest, but so yeah, the birth angel, okay, so some people that want to work with the 72 angels of the Shem ha-Mephoresh may want to look at their birth angel, and you may, just a suggestion, you may want to get a birthstone that is associated with your angel, and this can be interpreted in your practice. Now, what can you do with this? Well, your angel can be your guide. Your angel can be your protector. Obviously, the angel can help you with whatever its office controls. Your angel, you can connect with its energies. You'll just have to see through experiment, okay? What can you do with your angel? Does it have to be within the office of the angel? Does that have to be its timing? I really recommend that people you just have to experience. Don't let anyone else tell you what the truth is. Don't let anybody else, give you some kind of dogma or just tell you. No, you have to go get in there and experience, try it out, practice it, okay? See how it works. Let's say that you took a year to learn magic and practice it, and just see what happens. Just see what happens. Oh, be open. The key to magic, in my opinion, is openness, okay? Someone that is purely skeptical, it's going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you're going in and you don't think it's going to work, then it's not going to work. Your critical faculty is going to block you in every way. And I'm not saying that it's all psychological. I'm not. But I'm saying even if you're looking at a spiritus and a materia type of model, your materia, your vessel, okay, you're just closed off. Be open to an experience. Now, on the other side, you don't want to just ascribe reality or validity to something just because you had an experience doesn't make it real. So being able to balance these two opposite things, okay? You can't be too critical in magic. You have to be open to possibilities, okay? You need to be open to an experience, okay? The other side of it, you don't want to necessarily give reality to anything you experience, okay? So that is just being able, and that kind of goes into, having both sides, okay? Both sides of that, okay? The two sides. As long as you can keep yourself balanced in between these, then you could have a powerful and transformative experience with an angel, okay? Using these Renaissance methods or techniques, okay? There were methods to have a type of experience. So whatever people want to use, whatever model, whatever, I just encourage people to try this out. So the idea of a birth angel, it's the Shem angel that govern the degrees at your birth, or using Lazare Lenain, you could find your 3 birth angels, however you want to do that. So I encourage people to check that out. Have y'all looked at what your birth angel is? Have y'all looked at that yet? What is your birth angel? So what you would do is you would look at the degrees of your birth, and you would look at what angel was governing at that time. Okay? All right. So, and we could break that down. What you would do is you would look at the degrees of the sun at your birth. And then you would look at, what angel was who was that at that time, Some of you might find something useful out of that. And then, like I said, Lazare Lenain gave 3 angels in his Science of Kabbalah. It's a pretty important text for the modern view of the Shem angels. And some people may not want to do anything with that. So it's up to you, up to individual new type of interpretation with Lazare Lenain, or however y'all want to do it, So the birth angel with the Shem angels. There's some people that work with this and they seem to have really good results, really good experiences with the birth angel. Lazare Lenain gives 3 different angels of your birth that are the Shem angels. And again, there is kind of a correlation in Agrippa, so this is kind of a practice. I encourage people to experiment and see, how does that work for you. So today we are going to go on to the next geomantic figure. As I talk about in my videos, geomancy is a form of divination that was used in Renaissance magic, okay? If you would go to a magician or a wise person back in the 16th century, as an example, you would probably get a geomantic reading. Geomancy was used by astrologers and magicians back in the day as a way to communicate with planetary intelligences and spirits. So a lot of old school like ceremonial magic was an attempt to make contact with the spirits of astrology, more or less. You'd have, and other types of spirits, chthonic entities, different types. But in this context, they were communicating with the spirits of the planets or zodiac or whatever else, okay? Again, in Agrippa's 3-world model, you would have the divine realm, then the celestial realm, and then the material realm, okay? So these are like the 3 worlds of Agrippa. So, geomancy. Today, and we're also going to each draw a geomantic figure, okay? Actually, let's go ahead and do that now. Because one time I forgot and I felt so bad. I was like, yo, here in a bit, we're going to draw a geomantic figure. Everyone ready? And then I just like ended it. I felt so bad. So we're going to do this first. We're going to try it this way, okay? Let's do some geomancy, all right? Anybody that watches this video, if you just play along and be cool, you got to play along and be cool, then you're going to walk out of this video being a geomancer, all right? You will have done Renaissance divination. You're a Renaissance mage. You're a wizard, Harry. We're going to make it happen, y'all. All right, so to do this, you're going to need a pen and paper. Okay, get a pen and paper out. We're going to do this together, okay? Out across the airwaves, We're going to make it happen, Captain. All right? So what we're going to need a pen and paper. I like to use a Sharpie. I like to use something that uses a copious amount of ink, okay? Now, geomancy, the word geomancy, geo means earth. So geomancy literally means earth divination, just like pyromancy is like fire, scrying, or through fire, or hydromancy through water. Geomancy means earth, and that's because this came to us from like the Middle East or wherever people would be marking with a stick in the sand in the desert. Okay, they would mark on the ground, okay? And some people have interpreted this to be that geomancy was originally perhaps a way to communicate with earth elementals, okay? Earth elementals. So geomancy, some take it very literally as like communication with earth spirits, okay? Gnomes or elemental earth, okay? Earth spirits, geomancy. It could be drawn in the ground. If you look at some of these like old school, like Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn type of things, they would actually get like a special like wooden box and they put sand in there, They'd put sand in the box and you could take the stick and you could feel like an ancient Renaissance or like old, like medieval, like in the desert sand sage, marking your figures. If you have a cat, though, you want to make sure that the cat doesn't see a box of sand and get any ideas, That's one reason I don't want to do it. I've got my sacred box, And then the cat's like, meow, because it's a box of sand. I'm just saying, just throwing that out there, You might like that sacred box of sand that you've got just sitting on the floor over there. So, I've never used it, but I think it's actually pretty cool, I'm joking around, but that is a precaution if you have any cats. But honestly, I think it's a cool idea. Actually get like a little wooden box and put some sand, put some holy symbols around it and stuff, And then you can have like your stick or your like little wand thing and you can do your geomantic stuff. So that's possible. That's not what we normally do, okay? In the Renaissance and in modern times, we usually use ink and paper. So geomancy probably comes to us from Africa and the Middle East, okay? Geomancy, okay? And it came into Europe in the Middle Ages. And in the Middle Ages, in Europe, we don't have like sand everywhere in Europe, you know? We're not just surrounded by sand in Europe. There's a lot of trees and a lot of foliage. So maybe, you know, you'd have to find a clear spot in the dirt to do it. And, you know, but later on, it was just easier to just have pen and paper. Okay? Pen and paper can be marked, you know. And today, where it's so easy to have pen and paper, so in the Renaissance, a Renaissance geomancer, let's say you lived in London, he may not have a plot of land to do, you know, Renaissance London, for example, you would be using pen and paper. So pen and paper is absolutely traditional. So if you want to go outside and get a stick in some dirt right now, you can do that, you know. Or you could just get a pen, okay? Get you a pen, get some paper. We're going to do some geomancy, y'all. Are y'all ready? First things first, we need... Okay, Javier. Hi, Javier. How are you doing today? Javier, hola, amigo. ¿Cómo estás? Sí, vamos a platicar más mañana, amigo. Okay. So, where was I? And then geomancy was also used to communicate with planetary spirits and intelligences. This again is bringing Agrippa's magic to life. Okay, Agrippa's 16th century magic to life, because you're actually talking to the intelligences that he mentions in his book. You're talking to Yophiel, the spirit of Jupiter, or intelligence of Jupiter rather, to ask a question about your job or finances, or you're contacting Nachiel for that purpose, or you're contacting Hagiel, Agrippalis Hagiel, as the intelligence of Venus, okay, to ask about love or romance or a love interest. You can ask Hagiel, the intelligence of Venus. So geomancy is a way to communicate with the planetary intelligence or spirits. Okay, you're talking to astrological spirits, spirits of astrology. People that get into astrology, like, this is actually very interesting. Let's say you already get into astrology. You're already into, like, learning about astrology and all of this. Well, this is like the magical side of that. Talking to spirits and entities and calling them up to speak to them in scrying crystals and things in the Renaissance, okay? Is a form of, like, classical Renaissance magic, which we talk about that type of thing here. So, anyways, today we're developing a skill where you can communicate with the planetary intelligences from Agrippa, okay? So again, we're bringing Agrippa to life. We're bringing classical Renaissance magic to life, which I want to stress has never died, okay? That's why I don't really call it Renaissance magic so much anymore. I refer to it as classical magic, okay? Because Renaissance magic implies it's something from the past. It's something done. It's something over with. But really, classical magic shows that it's something that continues even today. There are still people that work magic in the old way. There are people that continue, that have never stopped, okay, continuing to work in the old methods, okay? Agrippa is still he still speaks to us. But anyways, when you're going to do a divination, I highly recommend that you really think about how you word the question. Why do I say that? You want to have a carefully worded question. Oftentimes, when you really think about how you want to phrase a question, you're already starting to think about, like, what can I do in this situation? You need to know, what do you want to know? Before you could find out what you want to know, you need to know what you want to know. What do you need an answer to? What do you need to know? You need to, like, be specific, you know? You want to be specific. So a carefully thought out question, okay? Especially if you're going to be calling on spirits to answer your questions, as we're going to be doing later on in these videos, like a true Renaissance mage, okay? We need to know what we want to ask. So hopefully everyone's got a question. think about something that you want an answer to. Now, again, don't freak out. Don't worry. Look, it's a reading, okay? If you think, don't be afraid, okay, of what you get. Let's say you get something bad. Oh, it's the end of the world. No, it's a geomantic reading. You'll be fine, okay? So just don't worry. Don't think of the pressure. Just because you get something in a geomancy, some people worry about that. Oh, I don't want to get something bad. It's the end of the world. No, it's a reading. And nothing is set in stone either. Okay, nothing's set in stone. So I think it's very important when you're new to divination, just kind of take a deep breath, okay? You're going to allow yourself to look at the situation in a new light and possibly communicate with a disembodied intelligence as well, okay? But you're going to look at something in a new light. There's several ways to look at what geomancy does. From a modern magic perspective, you could say that you're speaking to your higher self. From a psychological view, you're speaking to your subconscious, okay, which can control the taps of a pen and speaks in symbol. Maybe your unconscious has a deeper knowledge. From a classical magic standpoint, they didn't have these types of concepts in classical magic, or maybe they used a different terminology. In classical magic, you could say you were communicating with the anima mundi, or the world soul, which Plato talks about, Aristotle talks about, the Hermetic literature talks about it. The idea of a world soul, the anima mundi, okay, is a classical thing that we don't really talk about that much anymore, but it was very much part of the Renaissance worldview. And some of my older videos where I try to break down Renaissance magic more on YouTube, I need to upload them to Facebook as well. Some of my older videos where I talk about the classical magic worldview or paradigm, I really go into this idea of the world soul. But another view of like how does geomancy work, you could say that you're communicating with the world soul. Or in a New Age context, New Age, I hate to even bring that in, but like a Akashic records, you're reading the Akashic records. Now, in a Renaissance, in the spirit model, you're communicating with planetary intelligences, okay? Or there are many different ways that you can do this, okay? But anyway, so you've got your question. So what we're going to do, if you don't have a pen and paper ready, again, we're going to do this together, okay? We're going to make this a fun exercise, y'all. Are you ready? Everybody's all excited and ready, okay? I know y'all just been waiting for this time, you know? Get a pen and paper. We're going to do some geomancy. Yeah, we're going to do magic. Hell yeah, we're going to do some magic. You're not just going to watch a video on magic. You're going to do some magic, okay? All right? You're going to do some magic with me, y'all. Magic that just requires a pen and paper. How could you possibly resist, okay? And you're going to gain a skill that from now on, you don't have to have tarot cards with you. You don't have to have runes with you, okay? You just need a pen and paper. Anywhere you have a pen and paper, you can do a reading from now on. And you know that the method you're using goes back into prehistory. We don't even know where it comes from. But I mean, we don't know how old it comes from. It probably comes from Africa, okay? And through Africa to the Arab roots and on to, on through the Middle Ages, it entered into Europe, and then the Renaissance, and then on through Agrippa and all of that, probably came from Africa. Geomantic stuff. But so what you do is but we're using this to you can communicate with spirit. You can do a different way. For right now in these videos, we're just going to ask her higher self or the anima mundi, okay? So here we go. Do you have your question yet? Okay, do you have your question? All right, I've got my question here. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to take a pen and paper and you're going to make a series of dots in a line. And then you're going to go down and make a second line of dots underneath that, and then a third line of dots, and then a fourth line of dots. Okay? Don't worry about how you're doing it. Just do a line of dots. You're going to do 4 rows of dots, okay, while you focus upon your question. All right? So let's do this together. You ready? We're going to do 4 rows of dots, okay? This is geomancy. All right. Here we go. All right. So I'll give y'all a few seconds to do that. As you can see, I have 4 rows of dots here. Okay. There's the top row, the second row, third row, and the fourth row. So I'll give y'all a minute to do that. Okay. So just think of your question and make 4 rows of dots. Alright. Y'all are going to exit this video as a geomancers. Alright. You're coming in curious. Your curiosity is piqued. I wonder what this is about. You're going to exit geomancers. That's right. Okay. You're going to do some magic right now with me. Oh, you magic casters, y'all. Y'all are a bunch of magic dabblers. Look at y'all. Makes me proud. All right. So, everybody's got your 4 rows of dots. Okay. Everybody's got 4 rows of dots. Good. If you're not watching live, if you're watching this later, if you don't have your 4 rows of dots, pause the video, do your 4 rows of dots, ask your question. Okay. We're going to do this together, y'all. All right. So, we focused on our question. We've made 4 rows of dots here, okay? I'm showing y'all how to do geomancy, to do readings, okay? We're doing geomancy. So let's count. What you do is you count the dots in each row. In each row, you count the dots. If you have an odd number of dots, then it becomes 1 dot. If you have an even number of dots, it becomes 2. I'm going to show you how this works. So we count up the dots in the top row. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 is an even number, so 10 becomes 2 dots, remember? So 10 becomes 2 dots. Okay? All right, so that's the top row. Now we go to the second row. We're going to count. The second row has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 is an even number. Even numbers become 2. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to count the third row of dots that I did when I asked my question. The third row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 is an odd number. Odd numbers become 1. Okay, so in my geomantic figure, it becomes 1 dot because my third row has an odd number of dots. Now we go to the bottom row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is an odd number. Odd numbers become 1 dot. Okay? So what I did, I drew Fortuna Major. That's a wonderful figure to get. What did you get? What did you get, fellow geomancers? Fellow geomancers, y'all that did this, congratulations, you're now a geomancer. So what did you get? You've now added another divination skill to your repertoire. I'm proud of y'all, all right? You're now a geomancer. You've done it. So this is Fortuna Major. What'd you get? So basically, this is what you do. You focus on your question, and you do 4 rows of dots, okay? 4 rows of dots. Then you count each of the 4 rows. The top row here has an even number, so it becomes 2. The second row here has an even number, so that becomes 2. My third row has an odd number. Odd numbers become 1. My bottom row of dots has an odd number. That becomes 1 dot. Okay, so even numbers become 2. Odd numbers become 1. So, Fortuna Major. Thank you. My gosh. My gosh, okay. So what did y'all get? Kimberly. Hello, Kimberly. Kimberly has odd, even, odd, even. So odd, even is amicio. Amicio means loss. Now, loss is neither good nor bad. Loss could be good when you're getting rid of something that you need to get rid of. And loss could be bad when you're losing something that you don't want to get rid of. But loss could also be good when you're losing something you need to get rid of. Let's say you're in a negative situation that you want to get rid of. That would be amisio. But amisio generally represents loss. And amisio is assigned to Taurus. And it governs, amisio governs, it's strengthened in the second house. It's weakened in the eighth house. And amisio means loss, and it's governed by Taurus, okay? But it's externally grasped. And the thing is about external things are fleeting. And that's kind of what amisio shows. But I don't know if that like applies to your question. And again, we can't just base everything on a reading, but that is what amisio means, okay? So, let's see what else we have here. Lyria, okay, let me see what we got here. Lyria, what did you get, Lyria? Okay, Diana said odd, even, odd, odd. So odd, even, odd, odd. It's interesting, it's binary. Think of it that way, zeros and ones, or on and off switch. You're using like an on and off switch to talk to disembodied entities, or in this case, your higher self, or the anima mundi, okay. So, odd, even, odd, odd is Puella. Puella means girl, and Puella is Venus. Okay, Puella is Venus, and Libra, and it's Venus. And Puella represents, it's like the Venus or Aphrodite figure. It represents fertility and sexuality, and Puella also, it represents like, yeah, it's the female like fertility and that type of thing. Okay. All right. So here we go. And I got Fortuna Major governed by Leo. Oh, I got Fortuna Major, you know. Don't get jelly now, you know, my Fortuna Major. Yeah. My Leo governed by the sun of victory. All right. It's a little show and tell today. Today with Taliesin McKnight, we're doing a little show and tell, you know? Hell yeah. I showed y'all what I got. What did y'all get, you know? Be sure and put what you got in the comments, you know? You know? Alright, so today, we're going to be looking at the new geomantic figure, which is Conjunctio. Now, before I try to break down this figure, what does this image look like to you? Conjunctio. In Conjunctio, we have 2 at the top, 1, 1, and 2. Okay? Or you could say even, odd, odd, even. Okay? So, and by the way, 2 is seen as inactive or passive, and 1 is seen as active. So you have passive, active, active, passive. Okay? So you could think of it that way. Or 2, 1, 1, 2. Okay? Now what does Conjunctio look like? And what does the name sound like? Conjunctio means conjunction, coming together. Okay? And if you look at it, it's an upward pointed triangle below, like below coming up, and it's a downward pointed triangle above going down. So the above is going down and below is coming up. They're meeting. Conjunctio means conjunction, union, coming together, association, union, interaction. Okay, its image is a crossroads. It's a crossroads, like coming together, where paths cross, coming together, uniting. Conjunctio is the union of opposites. Okay, Conjunctio is the union of opposites. It's the union of the above and the union with the below. It's the union of opposites, Conjunctio. It's a crossroads. The name Conjunctio means conjunction or union, association, interaction. Okay, and it's ruled by Mercury. Mercury, as I talked about earlier, is about union of opposites. His caduceus wand balances the two serpents on the staff of Hermes or Mercury. And then Mercury also deals with the union of opposites, transcendence of opposites, in the sense that Mercury governs communication. And communication is a way for two people to communicate. Communication is the sharing of ideas. I say something and you listen, or you speak and I listen. Okay, it is an exchange of ideas. Mercury governs commerce, and commerce is an exchange of goods and money, or services and money. Okay, commerce is ruled by Mercury. Movement, travel, is movement from place to place. So Mercury governs communication, travel, okay, education, the passing of knowledge from one person to another, commerce, the movement of goods and coins or whatever between people. Okay, so Mercury is about movement. He was the messenger of the gods. He would take, like the courier, he would take something that one person said and carry it to the other person. He would unite opposites. Okay, and again, the caduceus wand, the balancing of opposites. Conjunctio, the union of opposites, is ruled by Mercury. Okay, so we have the upward pointed triangle above and the downward pointed triangle, like it's descending above, and then the below, the upward going up. So they're coming together. Conjunctio means conjunction or union. It's ruled by Mercury and Virgo. Now, externally, it's an earth, associated with earth. Its outer or external element is earth, because it's Virgo, okay? All of the geomantic figures has an internal and an external element, okay? Or an interior and an exterior element. The outer element always corresponds to the zodiac sign. What do I mean by that? Okay, Puer is associated with Aries, so Puer's external element is fire. Amicio is Taurus. Taurus is an earth sign, so Amicio's outer element is earth. Albus is ruled by Gemini. Its outer element is air. Populus is associated with Cancer. Its outer element is water. Fortuna Major is associated with Leo. Its outer element is fire. Okay, Conjunctio is associated with Virgo. Its outer element is earth. Okay, do you see that? So all of the geomantic figures, their external element or outer element always corresponds to their astrological associations. However, the internal or interior element often differs. The interior element of the geomantic figures often has nothing to do with its astrological association. Totally disconnected in a way. Okay, so for example, Puer is associated with Aries. Its outer element is fire, but its inner element is air. Okay, so Conjunctio, externally or outside, it's earth because it's Virgo. Okay, its outer element is earth, but its interior element, usually in the interior element, except for Populus because they're all two, one of the ones. So again, 2 means passive or inactive. 1 means active. And there are 4 lines. Okay, and every geomantic figure, this applies to all geomantic figures. There are 4 lines. The top one is often referred to as the headline. The second one of any geomantic figure is often referred to as the neckline. The third one of any geomantic figure, 1 or 2, either one, is the body line. And the bottom line of any geomantic figure, 2 or 1, the bottom line of any figure is called the feet line. Another way to look at this is elemental lines. So the top line is the fire line. The second line is the air line. The third line is the water line of any geomantic figure, and then the bottom line of any geomantic figure is the earth line. So, again, 2 means passive, 1 means active. So here in Conjunctio is an example. Fire is passive. Air is active. Water is active. Earth is passive. So, again, Conjunctio is earth. It's external. That's the astrological. Interior, its inner element, is going to be one of these active ones. And in fact, it's air. Air. Air has 1. The inner element of Conjunctio is air. And air is all about interaction. So there's 16 geomantic figures and 4 elements. So it's perfect. The symbol, like you have astrological, you have elemental symbolism. So there's 16 geomantic figures. 4 times 4 is 16. Okay? So basically, you have internal and external elements. Conjunctio on the inside is air. Okay? Now, also, air and water are active in Conjunctio, and air and water are often seen as intermediary elements. Okay? What do I mean by that? Fire is one extreme. Earth is one extreme. But water and air are kind of in the middle. Okay? So it's interesting that Conjunctio, the active elements, are the intermediaries. And this is all about bringing together, coming together. Conjunctio, conjunction, union. Conjunctio just means coming together. That's what it means, union. Whatever that means to you, whatever it means in a reading, it means a coming together. So how do you interpret that? Well, you're dealing with like an archetype. It's the union. It's the coming together. What does that mean? You have to read into the situation. Conjunctio could be good or bad. It could be good or bad. That goes for any of these figures, okay? It could be good or bad. What is the opposite? How do I mean that it can be good or bad? Well, let's look at its opposite. What is the opposite of Conjunctio? Carcer. Carcer is the opposite of Conjunctio. So we're going to look at how any geomantic figure could be good or bad depending on the situation. I'll show you why. Conjunctio, the opposite of Conjunctio is Carcer. And Carcer has a downward pointed triangle above. An upward pointed triangle above and a downward pointed triangle below. So, whereas Conjunctio is coming together, these are like moving away, isolation. Or, if you look at Carcer, you could think of it like 2 bowls that like capture. It like captures, it's trapped. Okay, it's trapped. There's no movement, it's restricted, it's isolated. Carcer, now this is a totally different geomantic figure. We're talking about the opposite. The opposite of Conjunctio, the opposite is Carcer. Conjunctio is coming together. Carcer is isolation, okay? And has to do with Saturn. And of course Saturn governs isolation, solitude, loneliness, Carcer. It has to do with isolation. Now, is Carcer bad? Is Carcer bad? No. Carcer would be good in a reading or a situation where you need alone time, quiet reflection. You may need to get away from a situation so that you can withdraw, find your center, and return. Withdraw, find your center, and return. You may need to withdraw, find quiet reflection, okay? So this may be a good thing. It's stable, it's solid, okay? So Carcer might be good in a situation where you need quiet reflection. Okay, that wisdom aspect. Conjunctio would be good in a situation where you want a partnership. You want to come together, okay? Carcer, let's say you want to get out of a partnership. Carcer would be, well, that would mean like trap, so never mind. See, what you do is you ruminate upon a symbol, in this case 16 geomantic figures. I want people to think of it this way. You ruminate mentally upon a symbol. You turn that symbol and all its associations in your mind. This is how this can be a meditative path. This connects. The subconscious is all about associations. And you know, kind of like the tree of life is like a symbol system where it's all about associations, okay? The past and the Sephirot correspond to various things. Same way, geomancy, you're able to create a bundle of ideas that all go together, okay? And you have to get it to fit into your situation so you can kind of understand. You're looking at your situation through the lens of Carcer. You're looking at your situation through the lens of Conjunctio, okay? But normally Conjunctio just means a coming together. It could be good, it could be bad. It's ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is changeable. Mercury is all about reconciliation of opposites. So Conjunctio in its nature is neither good nor bad. It's a coming together. It could represent a partnership. It could represent a meeting. It could represent that you're going to cooperate with someone or work together, or you're going to unite with a situation, or there's a lot of things. It's a coming together, a union of opposites, okay? And that could be good, it could be bad. It really just depends on the situation. Let's say you want to know if you want to get a job. Well, Conjunctio is strengthened in the 6th house, and it's weakened in the 12th house. Let's say that you want to know if you should accept a job offer. I would say Conjunctio, now it's neither good nor bad, but if it's the one figure you draw, I would say that it points towards a good thing, because that's like a, shaking of hands. We're going to work together. We're going to have a partnership, okay? So it represents a coming together, a union, okay? So that's basically what Conjunctio is. It's ruled by Virgo. Conjunctio represents a coming together. Conjunctio means conjunction, a union. It shows a downward pointed triangle above like it's descending, an upward pointed triangle like coming up below. They're coming together. It makes a crossroads. It's Mercury. It's about union. And Virgo, its outer element is earth. Its internal element is air. And that is basically Conjunctio. Okay, so I really encourage people, if you're learning geomancy, you're learning to speak a new language, okay? You're training your mind to basically think in terms, what are all the symbols, what are all the associations that go with this figure? Okay, so, that's basically what it is. And it's an interesting form of thinking, really, because you're no longer just thinking with your logical mind, you're also thinking in terms of symbols and in a way of like, what are the connections, the relationships between various things or various archetypes or whatever. So it really kind of brings in like another type of thinking, gets our creative way of thinking about things going, if nothing else. Now, I do believe in divination, I do, but even those that don't really believe in divination per se, you can see how it can get your creative juices flowing. You can see how it's engaging the unconscious. It's getting that part of us that deal with symbols and deal with relationships, that right brain way of doing things, and it helps you to get creative. What should I do in this situation? Now, I do believe in divination, but I'm saying even from that perspective, okay, someone that comes from a different world, maybe to you it's not in that way, but at least you can try to make connections and learn an ancient alphabet, basically, an ancient language, okay? This is an ancient language. This is where this connects us with the sages of the past, and we're starting to speak the symbolic language of Renaissance magic. So, yep. So today we talked about the birth angel with the Shem angels. We talked about birth angels and how people, if they wanted to try working with this, they could use the stone associated with the zodiac sign of the angel as a way to connect with their birth angel, their Shem angel, okay? And I talked about how Lazare Lenain has 3 different angels. Again, right now I don't have it live, but once this finishes rendering, I'm going to add links, if people wanted to get some of these books, if you want the books anyways, the links, they are monetized if you wanted to buy through my links. If not, that's fine too. But I just like to give a full disclosure that if I'm starting to monetize my content, I just want people to know. I don't want people to click things and not know what they're doing, But, I'm started monetizing my content. So if you're going to get the books anyways, click through the links I provide, and I can get a commission. That's it for today, I'm going to add the stuff to the video. So that was today. Today, normally I do these in the morning, normally I do them in the morning. But today, it just wasn't in the cards. Essentially, we had to do it in the evening. So, yeah, we've got some comments, huh? But actually not as much as we don't have as many questions as normal and stuff. I think we're good to go, y'all. How long was that? Huh, it's interesting. Kind of a different energy doing it in the evening. If you're just now tuning in, be sure and check back here in a few minutes. The whole thing will be available here in a few minutes. I talk about birth angels, okay? Birth angels and how to work with your own birth angel. I talk about the tradition. And then we get into some geomancy, because we got a bunch of geomancers watching this video right now, right? Because y'all have been doing the geomancy. Y'all are geomancers now. Congratulations, you're Renaissance mages. Whoosh, you're Renaissance mages now. Heck yeah. All right, y'all. Yes, Mage McKnight. Yes. Henceforth, I'll be known as Mage McKnight. Okay. All right, so that's it for today, and I will see y'all tomorrow morning, and we'll do it again. If y'all are here for the occult study, we're going to do it again tomorrow, y'all. I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Have a great day, y'all. Thank you for joining me. I really do appreciate y'all for tuning in and taking part and dropping by to say hello. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Have a great day, y'all.